Okay, so in 6.7 we're going to be factoring trinomials again, but this time, check out our trinomials. So we have 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. Now notice this time your leading coefficient, a, is not equal to 1. This causes us to be able to use some strategy and rules, but a good bit of guess and check. So again, when we factor a trinomial, we're going to break it into two binomials. And this time we're going to have to think about what numbers, here's my little thought bubble, what are my factors of this 3? I know it's x squared, so I know I'm going to have an x and an x, but I'm going to need a number being multiplied by my x's, because otherwise x times x just gives me x squared. And I need a 3x squared. So I know I can use a 3 times 1. That's about my only factors of 3. So one of these is going to be my 3x, and one of those is going to be just 1x or just an x. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. I got to think about on this side, what are my factors of 8? Well, I have 1 and 8, and I have 2 and 4. Now, that's about all the strategy I've got for you. From here, it becomes a guess and check game. So you're going to have to think about, what combinations of these numbers and these numbers can I put in here to end up getting 3x squared minus 10x minus 8? So let's start guessing and checking. What if I have, I don't know, we're just going to guess and go with this pair to start us out. I could throw a 2 here and a 4 there. Thinking about it, are they both going to be plus, both minus, or one of each? Well, I know my product is going to have to be a negative. So if I were to do a negative and a negative, negative times a negative, I'm going to end up with a positive, so it can't be. If I had a positive and a positive, when I multiply everything out, I'm going to end up with a positive 8 there, so that can't be. So I know somewhere I'm going to have a negative in there. And I'm truly guessing and checking here, so let's see what happens. This is where you're going to get a lot of practice in that foiling that was back in 6.4, 6.5. So I'm going to do my little box that most of y'all like to help me foil. And I've got my 3x, my minus 2, my x plus 4, and let me just work this out. So I end up with 3x squared. I end up with 12x, negative 2x, and a negative 8. Let's see if that gets me back up to this original problem. So I have 3x squared, combine my like terms, that's positive 10x, and that's a minus 8. So darn, I'm close, except I need a negative 10x and I have a positive 10x here. So let's see how I can manipulate this a little bit. What if I were to change and make this my negative and this my positive? Now let's see, do I have the right combination of numbers in the right place? Because changing the sign will change my answer, or flip-flopping the 2 and 4 will change my answer, because that will change how the 3 is multiplied times them. So let's box it out again. This time I have 3x and a 2, and I have an x and a negative 4. So 3x times x gives me 3x squared. Here I have a negative 12. Here I have a 2x. And multiplying these guys, I end up with a negative 8. So now I have 3x squared. Combine my like terms. Ooh, that should be my x there. I lost that. So 3x times a negative 4 gives me a negative 12x. So now I have a negative 10x there and a negative 8. Woohoo! So there's my answer, and that was my original problem. So I know that this is my correct factor of that trinomial. So again, it goes through guess and checks. I've seen people spend 15 minutes on one problem, guessing and checking the combination of how do I put these factors together, especially if there are positives and negatives going on, so that whenever I foil it back out, I get an answer that matches my original problem. It's really a test of patience and perseverance. We'll do one more, and then I'm going to set you loose to work on your own. Okay, so the next one, I want to show you a little bit of a variation you may come across. So we have 24x squared minus 76x plus 40. My marker's starting to get a little bit funny on me here. So as you're thinking about this, you're probably thinking, holy smokes, if I have to think of all the factors of 24 and all the factors of 40 and how I can combine them to get the same problem, that's a daunting task. Look first to see, are there any common factors I can pull out of all three terms? This goes back again to like that 6-3, 6-4, 6-5 that you've done. Well, these are all even coefficients. They're all even numbers. So yeah, I can pull out something even. I know this is, there's a factor of 4. 4 goes into 76. And 4 goes into 40. So I'm going to factor, let 4 be my greatest common factor. I'm going to factor a 4 out of this whole big trinomial so that I have smaller numbers to work with. So if I think 24 divided by 4, that gives me 6x squared minus 76 divided by 4, I should end up with 19x. And 40 divided by that, greatest common factor of 4, gives me a plus 10. Much easier to play with now. Now as I keep writing my answer, I need to keep up with this 4 here. So I'm going to keep up with him, bring him down, and now I need to think about how do I factor this trinomial. So again, my thought bubble says, what are my factors of 6 here? And I'm running out of colors to even show you because this is a busy enough problem. So my factors of 6, I have 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And then my factors of 10 over here, I have 1 and 10 and 5 and 2. And so I know I'm going to end up with an x and an x, but it's a matter of what's going to go here and here, what's going to go here and here, so that when I foil this all back together, I end up with my original problem. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. I'm going to use this combination of 3 and 2, and I'm going to use this combination of 5 and 2. On the test, and as you do in my math lab, nobody's going to give you that heads up. You're going to have to literally start plugging stuff in and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And if you get close, then maybe tweak a sign or two. Because you know you can't have a positive and a positive here, because otherwise both of these signs would be positives. Now when you multiply them, both signs are going to, your product is going to be positive. So if both of these can't be positive, but your product has to be positive, then these are going to have to be the same sign. So it's going to be a negative times a negative. So I'll go ahead and give you that heads up as well, because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. So, all right, so we said we're going to do 3 and 2. So let's put my 3 here and my 2 there. And we said we're going to do 5 and 2. I don't know, let's put my 5 here and my 2 there. And let's see what we've got. So whenever I go to factor this out, I have 3x minus 5, and I have a 2x minus 2. That gives me 6x squared minus 6x minus 10x and a positive 10. So I end up with 6x squared minus 16x plus 10. That is the same thing that I have right here, right? Nope, almost. Darn, that was close. Okay, so because I'm so close, I'm just going to tweak a little. What if I flip-flop these guys? Make that my 5 and that my 2. So you're probably getting a feel for just that guessing game that goes on. There's a little bit of strategy as far as getting the factors that are going to be the potential candidates for how you're going to factor this trinomial. But again, there's just a lot of guess and check going on. 2x minus 5, so as I multiply this, I get 6x squared minus 15x minus 4x and a positive 10. So now when I combine my like terms, these guys here, minus 19x plus 10. And now this is exactly what I have there. So keeping up with my 4, bringing him down, all of this is my answer. 4 times this binomial times this binomial. So again, 6.7 is just a lot of time, a lot of work. Don't give up. Persevere, hang in there. Don't be afraid to take a break, but come back to it if you take your break. All right, good luck.